So I received a question from one of my website readers, and it was basically about someone who was following their dreams. They're living a good life, but they don't allow themselves to rest. They feel like they still have to work harder. They have to prove themselves in some way, and there's a voice in their head that doesn't allow them to rest. Now, they didn't tell me that it's a voice. They simply said that it's hard for them to rest because they feel like there's this push to keep working, and that's a big problem. At least if you wanna enjoy what you're doing, because you can be following your dreams and you can be exhausted and not enjoy life because you're being pushed around by your mind and by this need to prove yourself, to overcompensate and to keep working and to keep doing something. And the solution really is to start becoming aware of when this happens in you. When your mind, or when you have thoughts about, let's say that, okay, you need to work, and start noticing the smaller details about that. What's the leverage that your mind has? Because if your mind says, okay, you need to work, and then there's a because. Why do you need to work? Is it because you need financial security, or you're afraid of losing what you have, you're afraid of losing control, or not being competitive enough, or not having food, or not having community? Whatever it is that has that leverage over you, and it's an illusory leverage because it's your mind. So start noticing those patterns. So in my life, I still have lots of thoughts, but the difference is from even 5 years or 10 years ago is that I don't take them too seriously. If my mind says, you need to do this because you don't have enough money, then I simply watch that thought. I watch my mind, I smile, and I say, okay, so let's not have enough money then. If the mind threatens you, like, let's say, you're afraid of not having enough money. Let's say you're afraid of being homeless or something like that. An easy way to get around that is to face your mind. To say, okay, so let's be homeless. Let's experience being homeless. And usually it's not about that, because the mind worries about so many different things. It wants to secure the future, to make sure that everything's organized and there's nothing to worry about. But that's never going to happen. There's always going to be something you can worry about. There's something to be scared about. You will always have thoughts that aren't positive. We'll always have both sides of the spectrum. And the mind really, I don't view myself as thinking all my thoughts. Because if I have a thought that comes in that says that I'm not good enough, or I need to be doing more, then that thought simply popped up. I don't really claim responsibility for that thought. Now, what I do claim responsibility for is my reaction to that thought. So if a thought comes in and says, Henry, I need to work harder, I need to do more, then what's my reaction to that? My reaction right now, these days, most of the time, is to simply watch it, to bring my attention back to my body and keep doing what I'm doing. Now, a good example of that is when I'm writing. Maybe I'm in the flow, I'm writing an article, working on something, and suddenly there's a thought that comes in that this isn't good enough. You haven't thought of something. And what I'll do is I'll watch that thought, bring my attention back into my body, and I'll keep writing. Because writing is not about perfection. Nothing is about perfection in life, because you can't be perfect. Even the act of trying to be perfect is a part of imperfection, because your mind is trying to push, it's trying to force things, and it doesn't work. The more you push, the more you force, the more you end up falling away from the natural perfection. You can use those words interchangeably, because perfection, imperfection, who cares? You're simply living your life. So coming back to the original question, all this about needing to push, needing to keep doing something and not rest. So take a break. And when you take a break, start noticing how your mind starts trying to get you to do more things. And there's nothing you need to get rid of. You don't have to get rid of your mind. or master your mind or do anything. You simply have to watch the pattern, because the more light you shine on the pattern which has leverage over you, the more you'll start noticing it, you'll start catching it when it happens. And when you do that, you can decide, okay, well, do I want to work? Do I have the energy to work or not? Because we're not here to work all the time, especially if you're a creative person. You can often only muster a few hours a day of intense work, if even that. So rest is a big part of life, and I've had to learn that the hard way, because I used to be very disciplined, try to push myself, try to force myself, and yeah, it doesn't work. And maybe we'll cover that in some other video. So that's all for this question, this video. If you like this video, like, subscribe, come visit my website for personal help and lots of articles, lots of other goodies. So yeah, I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you in the next video.